Wednesday 3.
We had Wednesday 1. He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix. Most of his country, of course, praying for safety and
on the defense, talking about it. You better get your ass involved. You better get involved.
I just gotta say, when it comes to Dallas,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
And this guy gets off you.
Solid from and then I go to bed every night like G-Man, I promise you that we got a What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here, Kelly K9 here. We're back. It's Wednesday night. We are live in the cave. Well, hopefully you guys had a good weekend, halfway hump day, almost to the weekend. Before we get rolling, make sure you hit that subscribe, make sure you hit that like, and make sure you hit the share. I don't want to just beg right now, but we've gotten 180 new subscribers over the past week, and some of our videos are getting a lot more views now because you guys hit that thumbs up. It don't cost you nothing. So as soon as you start watching this video, just hit that thumbs up, man, and gets this thing rolling. It lets the whole world know what the Cowboys Cave is all about. So, Kelly, my man, how are you doing today? We hadn't talked since all this stuff has kind of gone on from Friday. We've exchanged some text messages, things like that. So I've seen the tweets, but where is the mind of Kelly K9?
Well, I've been off Twitter since Friday, I think was my last tweet, maybe Thursday or Friday. I can't remember which day it was, but I've not been on Twitter for a little while. As per my word, I was like, listen, if this hire goes down, I'm gonna have to step away for a little bit because I need some time to process it. And it's not so much an indicative or of Brian Schottenheimer and what I think that he may be or will be. It's more of the hiring processes that the Jones continue to do. It's just the same thing. So it's got me a little out of pocket. It's got me feeling a little angry and frustrated, and kind of had to withdraw myself from the situation a little bit. But as the days pass, the anger starts to kind of subside just a little bit. I just had to remove myself from some things, and just I couldn't just keep seeing all the just everything is negativity, and then it would make me mad when I would see people be positive about it, because I'm like, how the fuck can you be positive over this shit? So I had to say, you know what? Let me step back because I got nothing good to say. Let me step back and give myself a few days to reflect, and that's what I've been doing is reflecting.
Yeah, I mean, I need to let it marinate a little bit, so I gave it a little bit of time. I listened to Michael Irvin. I kind of posted what he said. Now, I don't know if I'm going to make a mistake by doing this, Kelly. I don't know if I'm going to bring back some bad wounds, but I want to play you a clip. I want to get your opinion. We're going to let it go, and I guess it speaks for itself, so I'll let it roll.
Because at the end of the day, our goal's what our fans want, which is we want to win playoff games, we want to win championships, we want to win Super Bowls.
Kind of along those same lines, there was a lot of talk about family and continuity during the press conference with Brian the other day, and getting a guy that Eberflus to come back. How much does that help that alignment of knowing how he is as a person coming in?
I mean, we call it both things. We want continuity, but we also want change. And obviously what we've done, hadn't gotten the job done. We accept that. We accept that our fans can have frustration, that we hadn't gotten that job done. And you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect something to change. So we need to change, but at the same time, we've got a lot of things right. And so there's a lot of continuity we want to keep as well. So the combination of continuity, but also change, is why Coach Schottenheimer's our coach.
Stephen, you mentioned.
All right, Kelly, I'll let you say what you got to say, and then we'll hear from the people in the chat. We're going to have the phone lines open too. We got Kelly and I figured this thing out, but Kelly, what do you got to say when you hear something like that? It's such mixed emotions because he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. But what do you say?
It's the same shit that I've heard for the past several years. Like, their track record speaks for itself. I mean, they can say whatever the hell they want to tell me. I'm done buying their bullshit. Like, feed me shit once, shame on me. Feed me shit twice. However the hell that saying goes, fool me once. But they feeding bullshit is what they're doing, and that's all that they've done. I mean, listen, here's the thing, man, about what gets me is what they're saying is that he said we've done a lot of things right. Okay. They have in terms of player talent and what they've done in the draft. But I don't think that that's Steven and Jerry. I think that is more Will McClay. And I think that's probably a little bit of a mixture with the coaching staff that we've had. I don't give Jerry Jones and Steven any of the credit for that because I don't think that they really are draft gurus. I don't. I'm not for one damn second. But here's the thing. They feeds the fan base these little bits saying, we're going to change things up, maybe look at how we do things, blah, 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 and all this bullshit. And people just eat it up. They just eat it up. I mean, Jerry Jones said he was all in last year. And now they're talking about they're going to be aggressive in free agency. And that's basically the same as all. Show me. Show me, don't tell me. I'm like Cuba Gooding and Jerry Maguire. Show me the wins. Show me the wins. Like that's what I want to call Jerry Jones and say. Show me the wins. Don't tell me. Quit giving me lip service. Just shut the hell up and just show me the goddamn wins. Because what have you really, other than get some good players in here, what have you really done that's right? I mean, what have you really done that's right? In terms of this Cowboys team, what have they gotten right? Because they haven't gotten the coaching hire right in the last 30 years because there ain't no coach that's produced anything past the divisional round. I mean, have they gotten the quarterback right? They've gotten quarterbacks that have won games, but have they ultimately got a quarterback that's going to get us over the hump? No. Have they got a coaching staff that has got us over the hump? No. Have they developed culture that has changed anything about this Cowboys franchise? They're a bunch of front runners that go into the playoffs and get their asses bitch slapped when they get there. Nothing's changed there. So what really have you gotten right? You've got some good talent on this team, but what is good talent if it comes with zero results? Good talent is nothing if you ain't. I mean, for Christ's sake, when I saw that the Washington goddamn Commanders ended their NFC Championship drought before the Cowboys did, that's got to make you furious as a fan. And I know that we play for Super Bowls. We don't play for the NFC Championship games because ultimately that means nothing. But I'll tell you this. I want something over nothing because right now I'm a man starving. I'm a man that's coming out of the desert and I ain't got no food, no water in 30 years. It's not a drought, Steven. It's a fucking drought. Don't give me the air quotes. It is what it is. This is a drought, and I'm thirsty. I'm starving right now. All I want is a little taste of water. Get us past the divisional round. Show me some progress that we're making steps forward. And right now, they've done nothing. They got to show me something, Mike.
Yeah. Well, I wish I didn't play this. I brought out some emotion, but I love emotion. You don't love passion, and we love that in the cave. But I agree with you. And you were off Twitter. Did you hear Michael Irvin? I did a clip of Michael Irvin. It got over 300. It got over 300.
I watched the video on TikTok, actually.
Okay. And
I got traction. I got quite a bit of traction on
Jane
TikTok.
Jane Slater retweeted it. My girl, I told my wife she better be careful because Jane Slater, she might know Mike Tagg is.
Man, that's my sports crush right there. I love me some Jane Slater.
I told you, I'd be a Texas Longhorn fan. I'd give up the Miami Hurricanes. But what Michael Irvin said, and I don't want to play we don't need to play the whole clip again, but he was talking about inside. And this is, I don't have an issue with Schottenheimer. I'll be honest, man. That one doesn't hurt me. I think Kellen Moore would hurt me more. But I think the point that Michael Irvin made, that's the part that concerns me the most because you promoted from within a comfortable hire. You got, the curfew issues, you've got, late to meeting issues, all this stuff that's culture driven from the top down. So Schottenheimer is going to come in and he wants to set the standard and set some authority. I mean, they're going to be like, hey, now you want to be an asshole. We helped get you this job. And I get what Michael Irvin's saying. And that's the part that it's not the coach. I can't put it on Schottenheimer. It starts with the Joneses. And I keep always going back. Everything goes back to the Joneses. And I think it's more Stephen Jones than Jerry. I think Jerry is kind of turned into that crazy uncle that tells some funny stories and he does this. But I think behind the scenes, the decisions and everything is being made by Stephen Jones, which could scare you if you're a Cowboys fan, because so many people say, well, you know, Jerry's 82. We only have so many years left. And I think we're in those years now. So I think we better get used to it. But listening to what Steven said, let's play devil's advocate. They're feeling the heat from the fan base. I mean, he did the quote thing that blew up in his face. I mean, they're feeling everything they're doing is getting major reaction. You see Michael Irvin, the most diehard Cowboy homer that there is, what he said. They're feeling it. So do you think they're going to wake up now? I mean, better late than never? Or, you know, I know they got to prove it, but I mean, do you have any hope that they're going to be able to do anything besides status quo in the lip service they seem to give us before the seat license and the season tickets are due?
Look, I mean, I understand that they've got pressure, but I mean, here's the thing, man. Since the last time we have won a Super Bowl, we've seen the Giants win 2. We've seen the Eagles win 1. We've seen the Commanders get to an NFC Championship game as of this year. I mean, when is enough? Like, for me, it would have been when the Giants won 2 Super Bowls back in the early 2000s. For me, it would have been, exactly. For me, it would have been when the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that had never won the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl in 2017. Then they go back to the Super Bowl a couple years later. Now they're back in the Super Bowl. Like, this shit would have already been enough for me. So I get what you're saying, because yes, the fan base, I feel like, is at an all-time high right now in terms of frustration. But at the same time, it's not really affecting their bottom dollar, because there's still people packing the stands. They're still one of the most viewed teams. They're getting all that TV money deal. They're still getting talked about every single day by every single media outlet. They're still going to be able to sell us their old bullshit and say, well, fresh start. We got this guy, Schottenheimer. He's better bring. You know, they're still selling us bullshit, and I can't buy in on it no more. I just can't. I can try to be optimistic, and I can sit here and say, you know what, I think Schottenheimer, let me give Schottenheimer a chance, because I really don't know what he's going to be. Nobody knows what he's going to be. But in the back of my mind, I cannot erase this 30-year track record of absolute incompetence within the Cowboys organization, because that's what it is. And the positive people that always want to spin it at Reds Cowboys are going to say, well, you know, we haven't been incompetent. I mean, Jerry Jones has produced, you know, these 12-win teams. He's won the NFC East. You know, he's been on the verge. He's been, as he says, around the rim. Well, that is the kind of shit that keeps Jerry doing things the way that he's been doing it, because he's not getting enough heat. It's acceptable. We have, as Dallas Cowboys fans, we have lowered the goddamn bar to getting past the divisional round. That's really where we're at right now. That's how goddamn thirsty we are for some fucking success, that we have literally stopped holding Jerry Jones accountable to what Cowboys fans grew accustomed to, and that was winning championships and being a team that was going to contend for a championship. We're not around the rim right now. We're a team, I mean, we're sitting here, we're one of the laughing stocks. People are laughing at us. We're the butt of the joke in the NFL right now. And so fans have gotten so used to that it's just like any little thing that they can cling on to of hope, any little bit of hope, it's like, I'll grasp onto it. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Again, they've got to show me. Do I think that they're upset? Do I think that they felt more heat? Yes. But I don't believe that shit's going to change until they show me. You're going to have to tell me, because right now, I don't believe it. I don't believe they're going to be aggressive in free agency. I don't believe that they're going to give Schottenheimer the support that he needs to succeed. I don't believe any of it. I need them to show me. And that's the point I'm at. It's not going to change for me, man. I need them to show me. And that, again, is not indicative of what I think about Schottenheimer, because I don't know what he's going to be. But this is indicative of Jerry and Stephen Jones. Absolutely it is, because I've had it up to here. You can't even see where the hand's at. So,
no, you're right. You're right. I can't argue it. And Chris Warden says it. I mean, just as well. I mean, evening, boys. Thanks for the super chat. We've had a solid, solid top 10 franchise QB since 2006 and 4 playoff wins to show for it. That failure is on Jerry Jones.
Absolutely.
And without a doubt, it's an organizational failure because his team's been talented. And we talked about it, making the moves to make your team better throughout the season, throughout the offseason. And I hate to always bring up Philadelphia, but you have to give due. You got to give credit. They had an issue with the running game. They went out and got Barkley. Got a lot of heat for it, paid a lot of money for it, but damn it, he's a one-man. He's carrying that offense on his back. I mean, they're going as he goes. They went out and they got some defensive guys. They were struggling at cornerback. They went in and got two first-round draft pick cornerbacks. They went in and made differences throughout the season. If they made a trade, if they needed something, they did that in years past. I mean, that's what they're doing. You looked at the Washington Commanders. They obviously changed their whole culture, got rid of the owner, got a new owner, got a new GM, got out of the way, got a new coach, got a quarterback, just changed that whole culture. I will still say I don't think they're as talented as the record speaks. I think it was proven in the championship game, but they won those games. You can't take it away from them. Those are what they got. They're building something. And with the Cowboys, it's the same old thing. It's like I was talking to a friend of mine last night of the game, and I'll ask you the same thing, and I'll ask you guys in the chat. If I were to tell you the Cowboys would win a Super Bowl and suck for 5 years, get back to the Super Bowl in 5 years, and suck for 5 years, would you take it, or do you want to be in the playoffs? Do you want to be the Pittsburgh Steelers the last 10 years? They've been in the playoffs almost every single year, but they got nothing to show for it. What would you rather have? What would you rather have, Kelly?
Well, I mean, look, they won a Super Bowl in 2006 and 2009. I mean, if the Cowboys had won a Super Bowl back in 2006 and 2009, I would not feel this level of frustration because two things. I understand how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. It's very hard. I mean, there's not many teams that do it. I mean, look at the fact that the Patriots went on that run and won all those Super Bowls, and now it's the Chiefs that are on the run winning all those Super Bowls. You have to build something and get to the point where you are constantly at that level where you're competing and even at that. I mean, look at the Buffalo Bills. Does anybody think that Josh Allen? Listen, I think Josh Allen is a terrific quarterback. I think he is one of the best. I really do. I think he's top 3, top 4, however you want to spin that. I'd say probably top 3. And look at him. 0 Super Bowls. Hadn't even made a Super Bowl appearance. So, I mean, it is super hard to win a Super Bowl. But look, so I'm not sitting here and I'm not, I saw Swift earlier. He said, make sure we're not giving anybody too much credit, any of these teams. It's not that I'm giving them credit. But listen, we ain't even got past the divisional round, man. Not even past the divisional round. And again, I know getting past the divisional round does not accomplish our goals, but anybody as a Cowboys fan, you cannot tell me that you would not feel better if this Cowboys team had at least seen an NFC championship game in the past 30 years. Like if we had gotten one 10 years ago, or let's say that we were consistently in the playoffs and we're like the Buffalo Bills, we're getting an NFC championship. See, now that's around the rim. Jerry talking about around the rim. We're around the toilet rim is what we're around. But that's around the rim. Like, no, I'm not going to be content with that. But I will tell you this. I would feel better about my situation about this Dallas Cowboys team if we were the Buffalo Bills in that similar situation where we're constantly battling it out and we're just getting beat by an elite quarterback as in Patrick Mahomes, who by the time it's all said and done, is probably going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks, if not the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. So I could live with that. I would still want my Super Bowl, but I'm not going to be as pissed off at the front office as I am right now if that's the situation where if we're the Detroit Lions and I look at the Detroit Lions, they're building towards something. I get it. They got bitch slapped by Washington, but they've got hope. They've got optimism. They're building things. They've got a culture. They've got something that you can look to say, this team's on the right track. Because right now, they're on the right track. Washington's on the right track. Even with the injuries, I would say San Francisco's still on that right track. Philadelphia's on that right track. The Bills, the Chiefs, the Cowboys are on a totally different track. We're not even on a train track. We're on that little plastic track that your parents used to buy with the hot.
I think we're at the crossroads. We're at the crossroads. And I think and what I would say, Kelly, to all your great points, what bothers me is not that they haven't won a Super Bowl. What really bothers me more than anything is the lack of urgency and the lack of awareness by our top brass. And what I mean by that is you and I talked about, and I don't want to rehash every single thing, but you and I talked about all off season. I think every Cowboy fan talked about we couldn't run the football. We need a running back. And Derrick Henry moved to Texas, moved to Dallas. It's working out in Dallas. And all but said he wanted to be a Cowboy, but he didn't fit in our offense, or we didn't think we needed him. The year before, obviously, when we were 12-5, we had all those injuries at linebacker. And what were we saying before the trade deadline? We got to go trade for a linebacker. We've got to get help. We can't stop the run. We got to do something. They did nothing at the trade deadline. We put safeties at linebacker. That's what pisses me off. That's what makes me angry. It's not, I'll be honest, it's not in 20 whatever when we lost to San Francisco 19-12. That hurt, but we lost to a better team. I mean, we lost to a better. I can deal with losing to a better team, but what I don't like is not putting our team at the best position to win. When you have the opportunity to do it, that's where I get frustrated with the organization more than anything. Is their lack of awareness, and they're just, they this whole big thing on draft and develop. I get draft and develop, but they talked about it. If you listen to the press conference, they talked about we need to have a strong draft and strong college free agents because that allows us the luxury when we go to free agency the next year, we get the free agents. And then in the draft the following year, we could draft for best player available. So free agency is important to fill, but they don't do that. It's like totally opposite of what they said they're going to do. And that's the part that gets frustrating. It's not the players. It's not getting beat because, like you said, look at Josh Allen, look at the Bills. They're handicapped by happen to be in the same era as Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is the reason the Bills are never going to see a Super Bowl more than likely.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I agree with you on that. I do agree. That's definitely a huge part of it is the fact that the Dallas Cowboys have had these talented rosters. And, and here's the thing is that I feel like a lot of it has been the Dallas Cowboys getting complacent because of the fact that they have been so well in the draft. Now, I get it. They've had some mediocre to some bad drafts, as of recent. You can look back and point at some of the flops that we've had, whether it be Mozzie Smith, a Taco Charlton instead of getting, there's been some bad drafts, yes, but there's been more good than bad. But the thing is, what the Cowboys don't do that these other teams do as well is be aggressive in the free agency to know that if you need to go out and grab a veteran to really fill this spot, go out and get it. Like the Eagles, the Eagles are literally sitting in the Super Bowl right now because they did that in free agency. They knew. Because look, DeAndre Swift the year before was not a bad running back for them, but they knew they needed better. They knew they needed to get better, and then they looked out and they said, you know what, Saquon Barkley is available. Let's go get him. And they went out and they got him. They didn't sit there and they didn't say, well, we don't know if we can afford him because, we're going to have guys like Jalen Carter coming up for a contract extension soon. And, we got to make sure we got money for him. And we might have this guy coming up. This guy's going to be coming up for a contract. We might not have it. No, they didn't. They went out and they re-signed and they gave a new deal to A.J. Brown. They gave a new deal to Devontae Smith. And they went out and they got Saquon Barkley. They invested in their offense. And like you said, it's frustrating as hell because we sit there last year with 12-5 season. We get smacked by Green Bay, and we know that we need to make some moves because we don't have the defensive front to stop the run. So we're thinking maybe in free agency we go out and do this. We let Tony Pollard walk out the door with no plan to replace him, and we just sit there with our hands on it. And you got Jerry Jones saying he's going all in, and then when the season starts, Jerry's saying, well, Dak's going to have to do more with less. What about that makes you feel comfortable that there's a competent GM running this team? There's not a GM saying that. That's not an aggressive GM. That's not a guy that sounds like he wants to win or that he's committed to winning. More with less? In what fucking world does that work? In what world does that work? The only one that I know in this league that I think could probably do more with less is Patrick Mahomes. And even the Chiefs go out and get guys. They knew that they were a little weak at running back. They brought in Hunt. They knew that they needed another wide receiver. They brought in Hopkins. Like, they continue to make moves. And they won back-to-back Super Bowls. And they're still out here making moves in free agency. Like, I just don't get what Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are seeing around the league, the model for success that is clearly working with these teams that they refuse to do. I mean, what are you so scared of? What are you scared of? All these teams are able to manipulate this cap around and keep kicking it down the road. And Jerry Jones, you always hear that same, well, you got these teams kicking it down the road, and eventually they got to pay the piper. Well, when? I haven't seen the Eagles have to pay the piper. Shit, they're going. This is their third, or this is their fourth Super Bowl. This is their third Super Bowl in 5 years? 8 years?
Like 8 years, something like that. Yeah.
I know. They've got a model for success,
and they rebuilt. Like, they had their downward, and then they got right back up. Same with the Rams. I mean, the Rams went. They hit the bottom with some of their, because they did have the draft picks and get a lot of free agents. And I think that you have to have balance. And what they can have, I was talking to my buddy today, who's a big Cowboys fan, so we kind of console each other and talk some Cowboys. The thing that irritates me too is in free agency, they get guys on everything's 1 year deal. Everything's a 1 year deal. You're not going to get buy-in from these guys on 1 year deals. You need to give these free agents. That's why when you go the basement shopping, you're going to get 1 year deals. These guys are playing for their next contract. You need to get guys in here that change the culture, that are here on 3 year deals, 4 year deals, that are young enough and in their prime. You've got to be able to do that too. And you got to bring guys in here with championship mentality. That's what you fill that room up with veterans. You got your draft picks, your homegrown talent, mix in some outside veterans that got some championship experience. And then you get the young draft picks as well. That's what they need to do. And I mean, every team except the Cowboys, I mean, as far as the top teams, of course, you got some shitty teams, but every team but the Cowboys, that's the recipe in winning Super Bowls. Look with the Buccaneers. They went to the Super Bowl. They get Brady and they get all that shit, and they go win a Super Bowl. I mean, the track record's there. It's not a big secret. It's not a big secret. So.
It's really not, man. And like I said, they've got this is a recipe that has been shown that it can work. Whether you look at the Los Angeles Rams, the way that they approached it, whether you look at the the San Francisco 49ers, granted they have not won a Super Bowl yet, but I mean, again, I think that it boils, like what I said, I think that the frustration boils down to the fact that we are not aggressive in those terms, and Buffalo is absolutely frustrated. Guaranteed their fan base, they are frustrated because they want to get over that hump. Guaranteed San Francisco, the fact that they've been in the Super Bowl as many times and still haven't been able to win, they're frustrated. But here's the thing. If you're a San Francisco fan, I mean, people are still respecting you as a respectable franchise. If you go out and talk to the average NFL fan and say, who has had more success as of late, the Cowboys or the Niners, they're going to say the Niners hands down. They're going to say the Buffalo Bills hands down. They're going to say the Philadelphia Eagles hands down. And again, it doesn't really boil down to the championships. It boils down to how this franchise is being run. And the lack of success in the playoffs, the fact that we are a one-and-done team every single time in the playoffs, the fact that the Cowboys continue to botch these head coaching hires, which brings me to talk a little bit about the Schottenheimer hire, is that it's not so much that I'm just like, I hate Schottenheimer. I think he's the worst hire ever. I can't stand this guy. Like, I want to give him a chance. I really do. I like some of the things he said. I like some of the positivity. I like the way that he seems like that he maybe already has a lot of the players on this team, but it's the Jerry Jones going with the familiar, a guy that was already on the staff, right? Not really bringing anybody serious in to interview, didn't even talk with Ben Johnson, didn't talk with Aaron, didn't talk with any of the hot name candidates. And maybe Ben Johnson wasn't interested in it, but we didn't even hear that the Cowboys reached out. It's no different to the fact that the Cowboys didn't even pick up the phone to call Derrick Henry. It's just more of the same things that leave you scratching your head like, Jerry, when are you going to change things up? When are you going to switch up the way that you do things? Is this finally the year? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, he's just been ultimately a very stubborn man when it comes to this team and the way that he runs it.
No, absolutely. And we're going to get into it. We're going to try, if you guys have the nerve and you guys want to, you get an opportunity to call Kelly and I, share your thoughts, share your opinions. You know, the phone line will be open. You guys can do it. We tested it. It seemed to work, so we'll do that. The other thing that we're going to do in a few weeks, we're going to do a live mock draft. And what we want to find are fans, and each fan is going to draft the pick in the round. And we're going to run through it. Kelly and I are going to be Mel Kiper and who's the other guy, the other ESPN guy that does
Mel
it all.
Kiper and Topic Shea.
There you go. So we're gonna analyze the picks. We're gonna give you our opinions. We're gonna let you guys do it. We'll have some fun with it. So we're gonna do one of those shows. So if any of you guys are interested, all you've got to do, you know, Kelly's contact information through social media. You know mine. Just send us a message. Say, hey man, I want to be part of it. We'll grab. I think we have 7 picks in the draft. I think my memory's right. So we'll grab 7 people and we'll get it done. We'll have some fun. It'll be in a few weeks. We're gonna wait till the Super Bowl to get by and all that other stuff. So you got an opportunity to call and share your opinion. The number's down below, scrolling along. Also, make sure if you guys, this is our public service announcement, all the new subscribers, thank you. We definitely thank you. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. But make sure if you ain't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe. More importantly, I see 250 hanging around here from Twitter and YouTube and Instagram. Go over to YouTube and hit that thumbs up, man. You guys have no idea. I'll go look at the last draft video that was done, man. We had over 100 likes. It got over 5,500 views. We picked up like 60 new subscribers just from one video. So it makes a big difference because it lets everyone know where the cave is at, where Mike Tagg and Kelly K9 are at. So do that little thing. We appreciate it. So Kelly, talking about Schottenheimer, let's give him his fair shake. Listening to what he said, listening to some of the stuff he talked about the offense as far as more motion, cut shifts, running the football, the things that a lot of fans have been clamoring for. But I'll tell you this, the one thing he said, I don't think it was at the press conference. I think it was an interview that he did with Nick Eatman that actually made me say, you know what? Now I'm digging this guy. Because they asked about Mike McCarthy. And he said, Mike McCarthy is one of my best friends. But he said, some of the things I wanted to do, we butted heads on. And I'm sure that I'm going to butt heads on my offensive coordinator and things that they want to do. So I think it kind of made me feel like, he respects his authority, but he has a vision too. You know what I mean? He wasn't afraid to say it. There's things that he wanted to do. So I liked what I heard from him. I think our offense, I told people, if you like Dak Prescott, you're going to like the hire because you're going to get that continuity. I think that part of it is good with him. The key was defense. And you got Eberflus. They just signed, and I don't really know him, Aaron Whitecotton. He's as their defensive line coach. He was a defensive line coach for the Jets for about 4 years. They've had a pretty solid defense. I heard good things about him. But you're seeing kind of the staff coming together. What's your thoughts when you're hearing what Shotty said, and then also Eberflus as a defensive coordinator? What's your thoughts on that? And you guys in the chat as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I obviously my opinion is that he wasn't the best hire. I just don't think that he was. I think the Cowboys played it safe. Jerry Jones said that it's not safe. Jerry Jones called it a risk. It probably is a risk for Jerry if you want people to look at you like a competent GM, which you're not. I don't mind Schottenheimer though as a head coach. I mean, I'm going to give him a chance. I know him. He comes from he's been around great coaches his whole life. And sometimes all you need is a chance. Sometimes all you need is somebody to give you that chance and give you that shot. So I was angry about it that was the hire because I just felt like it was the wrong hire. But obviously I agree with that statement 100%. He's saying all the right things, but most head coaches do when they first get hired. You know what I mean? Most coaches, they say all the right things. He's talking about wanting to win championships. He's telling everybody that he's got, faith in Dak Prescott, saying a lot of right things. But again, I don't know what Schottenheimer will or won't be. All I can do is sit back and give my support and wait and see. You know what I mean? I can't sit here and just constantly be negative because if that's all I'm going to do is just sit here and be doom and gloom, and say we got no shot, we're winning 7 games, we're not going to make the playoffs, it's be a disaster. I mean, what the fuck is the even point of watching? I mean, that takes the whole joy out of even being a fan. I'm a fan because I'm a fanatic. I'm allowed to be angry. I'm allowed to be emotional. I'm allowed to be a little bit probably off the rails at times, right? But in the end, I'm loyal. I'm loyal, and I am going to be here through thick or thin. I'm never going nowhere. This is my team, ride or die. So I'm going to support Schottenheimer. I'm going to hope that he does well, and I'm going to hope that he proves me wrong. I think that it's
hang that thought. Hang the thought. I think we got a caller. Do we have a caller?
All right.
Hey, what's up, man? How y'all doing?
Can you hear him, Kelly?
I can hear him. Yep.
You know that we got cuts by Jones, my man Fred Jones on the phone. What's up, man?
I'm cracking like your homies. How y'all doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, Cuts.
We're doing good. So
doing good.
How you feeling, my man?
Man,
about
look,
this? Maybe you could pump Kelly up, or
man,
you gonna pile on?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm here. I'm here to pump Kelly up. Check this out, man. Kelly, I hear you. We text, we talk, and I totally get everything, man. But there is a silver lining to this air quote, cloud that we have, right? So how about this? Will McClay. They say he got signed to a multi-year contract, so that's a good thing for us, right? I mean, so I'm just trying to be positive here. I'm just trying to, and I hear what you're saying that, they feed us all this other little stuff, and then it gets like, oh yeah, they're gonna pump us up, man. Yeah, I ain't falling for that shit no more. That stuff no more, right? I totally get it. So I'm just trying to look at the little silver lining on that cloud, but also trying to, try to bring some balloons to the party for my boy Kelly. You know what I'm saying? So, that's all I want to say, man. Hey, man, we got Will McClay.
Yes.
I think he's probably the truest, in that front office and that top brass part. So I just want to, see if you can talk about that, man. What are your thoughts on that, homie?
Well, we're going to do it. And then the other thing is a lot of people, we've been, Cuts, obviously, he's family to the show. And we do our Cowboys Cave tailgate party. And my man Shady's like, can we have the tailgate when it's not 100 degrees out, which he's saying, let's do it in December. Let's do it in November. But like I said, and I got you, Cuts. I mean, we don't want to do that. If we would have done that last year, I think it would have just been the 5 of us hanging out at the
What'd you say,
tailgate,
5 people?
Right? So,
yeah, nobody's showing up.
Kelly, I mean, are you in agreement? We need to have the tailgate party early in the season?
It's always got to be early. It's got to be, in my opinion, it's got to be either the first home game, if not the first home game like last year, then the second home game, because you want to catch it while the optimism's still high, because the way that Cowboys fans go, including myself, how they show that the cycle. You see, everybody's seen that meme for the Cowboys. Okay, at the beginning of the season, that's where, we at the top of the cycle is like, we're back, baby. You know what I mean? Regardless of what's going on. And I mean, hell, I know I've been there before. Shit, I was able to get to that point in the cycle, even when Dave Campo was a head coach, coming off a 5-11 season, knowing that Vinny Testaverde was going to be the guy that started.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, early part of the season, that's when all the hype comes. That's when we got to capitalize on it and get everybody while we're in hot. But I absolutely am pumped up about Will McClay. I do think it was a great deal. I really wish Jerry Jones, though, would not just use him for the draft, and that he would let him be more of a GM and actually be involved in free agent signings. You know what I mean? Because I really do. I think there's plenty of teams that have shown interest in Will McClay, and I think that if Jerry Jones did not extend him, I absolutely think he would be a GM for a team one of these days. But Jerry pays him well, and obviously he likes Dallas, likes working in Dallas. Thankfully he does, because he's provided some great players for us over the years in the draft.
Yeah. Well, Cuts, we appreciate it. Always love to have you part of the show.
I'm just trying to break the phone lines, man. Let everyone else, let them know. Call in, man. Shit, hey, man.
Baby.
They know this stuff. First on the question, and most definitely, Godfather, you let us know whenever you want to tailgate. Hey, man, let's get this shit done, man.
We're gonna do it, man.
Y'all be good, be safe, man. Much love.
Yep.
That's Cowboys for life, and love y'all both, man. Y'all be good, be safe.
Right, man. Love you too, Hey, so let me just steal something from Jerry. Cuts just cut the ice on the telephone lines. So listen, the call-in line is there, man. Nobody's opinion is going to be mocked. It doesn't matter what you feel or what you say. I've always said this, and I always say this on Twitter, man. As a Cowboys fan, you are entitled to feel however the hell you want to feel, and there is no right. There is no wrong, because at the end of the day, we're all fans. You can have an opinion. I may completely disagree with that opinion. I'm not going to call you stupid. I'm not going to mock you. I think everybody's voice should be heard. So, don't be scared, man. Y'all call in. Me and Mike, we love talking with y'all, man. We love talking in the chat, but we want to hear y'all's beautiful voices, man. Call in and vent some frustration. I want to know how many people feel like me. How many people felt like punching holes in the drywall in their house and shit when this whole thing went down with Schottenheimer and just kind of how it went down. Mike.
I think we got another caller.
Who we got another caller? That's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's bring him on in.
Hey, this is D Shift, man.
What's up, D Shift?
What's up, big dog?
Nah, nothing, man. I appreciate y'all laying the content out for the evening, man.
No,
we can't get enough of it.
No, thank you so much, and I know you called in before. Man. Appreciate the support. What's on your mind? Now you got Kelly. Kelly's been in hiding. He's dooming. He's almost doom and gloom, but we're getting him up. I mean, how you feeling right now? Now you got to let everything settle in. You listen to Stephen Jones. You listen to Jerry. You're seeing the staff come together. Where are you at right now as a Cowboys fan?
Oh man, it's all in 2.0, in my opinion. I think, man, they're just trying to sell the season tickets right now.
Yeah, mine's due soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how I feel too, man. That's exactly how I feel. That's why I sit here and I've been saying, man, I just feel like a person that's just like, I've heard this already before, man. Like what new can you, like, don't tell me, show me, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just for a guy like Shotty, man, who's been definitely paying his dues. So that's kind of cool, man. You get a guy like I don't know. You definitely have to be some coaches in the league that just paid their dues for that amount of time, and he's in that perfect age range, right? He's like young enough to still have energy, but old enough to have a little wisdom about him.
Did you take anything from the players? Because that's really not that common in the off seasons of the players showing up at the press conference the way they did for him. Did that show you? Did that make you feel any way, good or bad?
I mean, at this point, I just they need to show me on the field and in the playoffs. I mean, I'll be cool if we kind of sneak in at 10-7, and then, you get all your guys back healthy and you hit a streak. I'd take that 10-7 and get hot in the playoffs. I don't need to be 15-2 and get bounced in the divisional round.
Yeah, I agree, and I want Kelly to jump in too on this real quick with you because you made a good point. I was saying it even last year. I would rather see this team have to fight their ass off to get in the playoffs and be hungry all the way down to the end and kind of coast in. I think that's what's happened to them a couple times in the playoffs. Kelly, what do you think about that mental state for this team? Do you think the way they are, they've got to be a team that's got to get battle tested because they're not as considered as we love doing the quote thing that he does, not a tough team. What do you think, Kelly?
I do, because I mean, you look at a team, I would kind of hope to be a team, obviously with a little bit different results, but kind of hope to be a team kind of like the Rams were this year. You know what I mean? The Rams kind of went through some things. They had a losing record at one point. I think they were 5-6, and then they rattled off 5 wins in a row, or, I think it was 5 of their last 6 that they won. Anyway, made it into the playoffs, 10-win team, a scrappy team, that fought hard, and they gave they played really well. I mean, they, ultimately they were not able to beat, Philly, but they played pretty well against them, and, we're giving them kind of a run for their money there for a little while. So, I'd like to see the Cowboys do something like that, but I'm 100% on board with Shift over here that, they got to show it to me, man, because I mean, there's just nothing at this point that's going to get me to be like, oh man, we got Schottenheimer, we got Eberflus. I just saw we got the D-line coach from the Jets, which I think is a good hire, but it don't really matter. They could bring in, I don't care who the hell they bring in, man. They could bring in the best staff around Eberflus that you can find in this. I still got to see it. I still need to see it with my own eyes. I need to see that there's a change in this team. I need to feel the change. You know what I mean? Like, Shift, you were talking about it earlier about, something, you're talking about like the last several years, kind of how the Lions have had. And yes, they haven't been great up until the last 2 years. And I don't think that they're content by any means, but you can tell there's a culture shift in Detroit. Even though they got bounced by Washington and, that was not the way that they wanted to have, they did have some significant injuries on that defense that could not be overlooked. I mean, they get a guy like Aiden Hutchinson and he's out. I mean, that's a huge loss for that team. But Detroit, I feel, if you're a fan of Detroit, you got to feel that they're on the right track and that culture has shifted. In Dallas, it feels like the culture has ultimately just stayed the same, which is why it's so frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
the culture gets magnified here. And Shotty, he used culture a lot in that press conference. He talked about, that was his number one thing. What was it? I think somebody asked him, what do you want people to remember you by when you walk away? And he said, a coach that built one of the greatest cultures in NFL history. Yeah. And I don't know if that was just because that's been a big talking point amongst the nation. And so a lot of that press conference seemed like they were responding to a lot of the things that we're frustrated about. And they do a good job of being genuine and, saying stuff like, well, the fans have the right to be frustrated and this and that. But your actions aren't showing it. Like the Eagles are clowning y'all with how many times they've been back to Super Bowl. They got a quarterback that's $55 million and is a guy that needs a team to be put around him. They're in the same situation as you quarterback-wise. And they're making all these trades against Saquon Barkley. They got 2 wide receivers they're paying. The tight end's expensive. I'm sure a couple of them linemen are expensive. They got money in defense. Like, what are we doing? And it's the free agency. Y'all refuse to pay anything in free agency, and you're not going to do it this year. You sit up here and tell us that, all right, free agency is going to be different, but that means you're going to get 6 guys, pay them all $4 or $5 million each. They're just going to have a name about them. You're going to get Cedric Thornton. You're going to get freaking Gerald McCoy. That's what you're going to get,
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing, Not rookie. I mean, this isn't really a bad team. We suffered a lot of injuries. Of course, as the Cowboys, we don't get the same leeway as other teams.
Yeah.
Right? When other teams like the Lions, they get, injuries. Had it been the Cowboys suffer injuries in 15-2 and you get bounced in the division round, nobody gonna give a damn. Nobody gonna tell you that, oh, you're building something, you're moving towards something. They're gonna say same old Cowboys. So that's my thing about how these other teams get a pass. Buffalo Bills been doing the same things they were doing in the 90s, except for they're not gonna get into the Super Bowl and getting bounced. Now they're just getting bounced in the NFC Championship. The AFC Championship.
Yep.
So, but as a Cowboys culture, like y'all, like with the expectations for whatever reason, I don't know. I'm just a Cowboys fan. I don't know. I don't get into all this. We're the number one brand and we're the hottest team and with TV ratings. I don't care about that. Like I didn't know that when I became a Cowboys fan. I just was rooting for them and saw 3 Super Bowls and I'm like, oh wow, we're a big deal. So at the end of the day, like that kind of plays into a bit of a distraction in a sense. So when you talk about changing a culture where it's like you have everything going against you, but you're not doing anything to try to combat any of that.
Yep.
And then you come to these press conferences and you sit up here and you talk a good game and you talk about all these all-ins. You're going to say what you got to say before the draft. And then once you sell your season tickets and all that gets settled and you see that, okay, we still going to make money this year, you're going to do the same thing. Like you knew you had no depth going in last year. And they want to bring up, oh, yeah, well, depth was, we didn't perceive the depth issues and this and that. Well, Detroit did the same thing and they still won. It wasn't your depth. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it, you lost your quarterback, but I mean, you lost your defensive end. So going back to that point, like
defense. I mean, that's
talent wise, like I think we could have made the playoffs had we not got ravaged by injury as we did, but we still be sitting in the same old boat. Like, well, we got bounced again because we weren't going to be in this week. We weren't going to do anything this weekend.
No,
but
I agree.
Moving forward, hopefully, Genty would help, or maybe a Burden, a good offensive weapon. You're going to get some. I think you'll improve this team through the draft. It can't get any worse.
Yeah.
You get healthy. You got young guys, getting older. But guess what? So do other teams. So you're not going to do anything to separate yourself.
They got to show it. They got to show it. They got to show it, Shift. And we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And if you like the draft,
appreciate it, man.
If you like the draft, give us a holler. Reach out, man. We'll have you on here.
Oh,
and
sure.
You could get one of the picks, man.
I'm Cowboys 365, man. 365. So, man, I appreciate the work you're doing, man.
Take
Appreciate
care,
you.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
No, I mean, a lot of valid points, and Shifty called it before. We definitely appreciate it. He's been on, he's been in the cave a lot, so definitely appreciate the love there. And and that's what it is. You've got a lot of fans that they're rightfully frustrated. Hey, my season tickets are due, Kelly, and I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to go all in one more year. Yeah. But I reached out to the agent. And you tell me if I'm being unfair. I messaged him and I said, hey, I know my seat license and the tickets are due. Jerry had a great idea, which I support. He wanted his coaches on an incentive-based contract. And I think it might be fair for me as a season ticket holder to put you guys on an incentive-based contract for tickets. If we suck again, I want a refund. I want a rebate. Is that unfair for the fans? Jerry thinks it's a great idea. Why can't we?
That's probably what he's paying Shotty, to be honest. He's probably got some bullshit under the table. Schottenheimer so desperate for a head coaching job that he'll take whatever Jerry Jones throws at him. 2 Big Macs in a fucking pack of goddamn potato chips to coach his team with some incentives on the side. But yeah, it's funny though. I agree with what Shift is saying, though, man. I mean, they're saying all the right things right now, but they said the right things last year. After that Green Bay loss left a bad taste in our mouths. We hear Jerry saying he's going all in, and instantly I'm hooked. I'm not going to lie to you. When he said he was going all in, I'm like, hell yeah. We're going to see some big names signed in this free agency. We're going to get some playmakers going on. We're going to roll into the draft. We're going to snatch we're going to win. Instead of 12 games, we're winning 13 this next year. We're going to make it to the NFC Championship game and fight it out and maybe make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, none of that shit happened. He didn't do a goddamn thing. And by the time the season started, my energy was zapped out, and I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell did I buy into that for? So I definitely ain't buying into that shit this year. But what I would say is touch on something that Schiff said, and that you had talked about too, was that Brian Schottenheimer touched on the culture thing, which means one thing, right? To me, it means right away that he's in tune and he hears what this fan base is saying. Because what have we been talking about all season long? We've been talking about culture. That's been a hot button word for the Cowboys, is culture. So we know that the culture is an issue in Dallas. And whether that be that they need somebody to be a little bit more disciplined, or a little bit more of a disciplinarian, or hold these players more accountable, whatever it may be, we know that there's something missing. So Schottenheimer knows it's missing. I'm going to be honest with you. One of the things that, and then I'm not trying to claim to be able to be a head coach, but we've talked with other former players that have talked about the camaraderie and how close a team was, and that the best teams out there, that you look and see how close they are, that they play for each other. They love each other. If I'm Schottenheimer, I'm doing team activities with the entire team. It's going to be like a weekly thing. Like, we getting together once a week, even if you bring your families, but we're doing some they got to do some team building activities and get these guys to, pair up an offensive line, as crazy as it sounds, pair an offensive line with a D lineman and let these guys get to know each other. I watched that movie, Remember the Titans, not that long ago. And when he was sitting when they were sitting in there, Coach Boone was telling them, I want you to tell me something you have learned about your roommate of a different race. It doesn't have to be a different race, but of a different skill position. I want you to tell me something you learned. Do things like that. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, as corny as that may sound, this team needs something drastic to like bring them all together to form as a cohesive unit instead of 53 individuals. Eugene Lockhart talked about it when he said it's 53 individuals. There's been other players that have come on and talked about it and said the Dallas Cowboys seem like each person is playing for their own individual brand. And you got to do something to fix that. You got to do something to bring these guys together where they're all one whole unit and they play for each other. And then you got to do something like that. So the fact
they could podcast together. What about that? They do a podcast.
Well, yeah, I mean they do, but those, they're buddy though. It's clicky. You know what I'm saying? The Cowboys team is kind of clicky. Like that has got his little group. You know what I'm saying? Micah's got his little group. Like that all needs to be all together, coming all together into one. Remember when we talked with Gogan? Gogan's offensive lineman, but remember he told us the story about he's going out there. They're riding in a limo with defensive players going to who did he say was it Hollywood that was said he pulled a limo?
Everyone. It was
everybody. Who was it?
No, that was Crawford Kerr said it was. Who the hell was it that said we're going to find out who the baddest mother effer is? And he was taking off his watch. He was ready to get out of the car.
Yeah, but I mean, and so that kind of thing, though, because they're out there and that's one of those things, though. They got these stories and they're out and they're going out to eat together. You know what I mean? They're going out to these restaurants and they're doing things together as a team and as like one unit. I don't know. There's not enough in this Cowboys team.
I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I do want to play a part of it if I can.
I don't know the man.
I think,
but I do know man.
Let me get to
I will get my damn job done today.
Here.
Go in the room, play everybody else. Saturday afternoon at 1:30, people, for a 3 p.m. Sunday game. I'll see you at the game on 3 p.m. Sunday.
Exactly what
do y'all understand? Everybody else, they show up at a hotel Saturday night at 6 p.m. This is what we did. We have dinner till about 7:30. Then we're going to go have meetings and watch film till about 9. We'll get us a snack. About 9:30, we're going to go in the room, play cards, hang out for a minute. The whole damn while we're talking game plan and what we must do. It's a promise made, one man to another. I will get my damn job done today. That's how you win championships. And you make the promise over and over to each other. You make it when you're with each other. And if you're not creating these times together, when the fuck you gonna make these promises? You talk all off season about money. You don't talk about winning. And then when it's time to be talking football, you got everybody home, sitting at home. Now Brian's going to come in. What is he going to say? We're going to start showing up at the hotel. We're going to have curfew. They're going to say it again. Oh, man, what you doing, dog? Oh, okay, nigga, you going to change like this on us? This how you going to change? Oh, we got you the job. That's what they're going to say. And now you're risking losing the whole locker room. I hope I'm wrong. But I'm telling you, I know man. And I do know this. I know how to win championships. I got hardware everywhere. All my shit ain't fake. People put, whatever they put back there, that's all real hardware. Ain't a piece back there fake. And it comes from everywhere, on all levels. Don't tell me I don't know how to get it. And I'm telling you, that ain't how to get it.
So he's echoing kind of what you said. And that's powerful. And Michael Irvin's a guy, you see the passion, you see the frustration with him with this team. And that's a shot, not at the coach, that's a shot at the ownership and the general manager, Jerry Jones, and all of that. So I hope he tells him that to his face.
Yeah.
That would be.
Well, I honestly wish they'd bring Michael Irvin in there and maybe make him the deacon, the deacon of what am I looking for? The deacon of accountability for this team. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that comes in.
I don't know if we want going out late with him. I'm just kidding.
Maybe not going out late. Maybe not going out with Michael Irvin. But no, I'm just saying no, I absolutely echo what he's saying and agree with what he's saying. You have to build that camaraderie as a team. And you have to be able to go out and play for each other. And it's funny because, there's some people that say that the way that Dion talks to his team, you know what I mean? They say, and how Michael Irvin would go, and you saw him in some of his videos with the Hurricanes and stuff. And people say, you know what, these are grown ass men. They're not going to fall for this rah, these inspirational. Why the fuck not? I'm 40 years old, and that shit fucking. I mean, who needs Cialis?
You're ready to get going, man.
Who needs Cialis when you hear that motherfucker talk? Shit, sign me the fuck up and play football. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, that gets me motivated. I mean, how would it not get you motivated to have a former 3-time champion come in here and tell you these things that he's saying right now? Talk about the accountability. Talk about the togetherness. Talk about playing for the man next to you. Like, that gets me motivated because that's what the team sport is all about. It's not about building your brand and being out here trying to put yourself out to see how big you can get. And it's all for me. It's me. That's not whatever is going to win a championship. The best teams out there are the actual teams. And I mean, you look at right now, obviously it's hard to build, but you look at the Chiefs right now. That is a together. They all love Andy Reid. They would run through a goddamn brick wall for Andy Reid at the drop of a dime. And you look at the guys on that team, they love each other, man. It's like a brotherhood there. They, from the defensive players to the offensive players, they're out there, they're having fun. They're talking to each other. They're laughing on the sidelines. They're clapping, they have the model for success. And, I know it's easier said than done to try to mimic that, to try to get that. But if Schottenheimer really, really has that dedication and he knows what it takes to start changing the culture, I mean, and hopefully he does, then maybe that'll happen. But I love Michael Irvin, man. I love Michael Irvin. I love guys like Deion Sanders because those kinds of attitudes are what win championships, period.
No, it's missing with a lot of the generation, but I still think great players want to be motivated. Great players want to be pushed. Average players, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to, but great players want to be pushed. There's a reason why, someone said, oh, you get all these, we got to get younger. We get these young guys. Who's the oldest coach in the league? Who's the oldest defensive coordinator in the league? They're on the same team. And who's getting ready to probably win 3 Super Bowls in a row? They get, it's all about respect, and they get the respect. It's not age, has nothing to do with it. It's how do you gain respect of your team, and those guys do it. And the Chiefs are a model of success. And I mean, Kelly, all we could pray is they could do it one more time for us, can't they? Because
that's it. That's all we
want to see the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. That would be the end of. That'd probably just be the icing on the cake for just such a shitty year.
Yeah, no, and that's what I keep hoping against is that, I mean, it's been a terrible, terrible year for the Cowboys. Just absolutely horrible if you're a Cowboys fan, what kind of year that we've had. It's hard to walk around with your head up high, wear that star up on your head or your chest, wherever the hell you got it, your sleeve, whatever, have it tatted on your goddamn arm. It's hard, man, because we're the butt of a lot of jokes and rightfully so.
Can't really make a comeback.
There's nothing you can really do, man. And I'm one of my favorite things to do is talk shit. I love to talk shit, but I also know when I have nothing to fire back at. And I mean, what the hell am I going to say to a Commanders fan right now? What am I going to say to an Eagles fan? Literally, what am I going to say to anybody that wants to talk shit about the Cowboys? I have no. We were a bad team this year. We were an injured team. We were a highly penalized team. It's just been a bad year, and it would just quadruple down on the shittiness of this year if the Philadelphia Eagles were to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Because not only would they win a Super Bowl, but you're talking about stopping the three-peat. You're talking about them taking down one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in Patrick Mahomes, and possibly one of the best dynasties we've ever seen in the Kansas City Chiefs, because what they've done, 3 Super Bowls in a row, I mean, that already is greatness right there. So I just want the Chiefs to just stop a mud hole in their ass, because if not, it's gonna be rough. It'll be a rough.
It would make it's like I was telling you, 1-4. Yeah, I forgot that Pete Carroll he's back in the league. All right, he's the oldest. Andy Reid's still old as shit. So let's calm down. But 1-4 in the Super Bowl feels really good for the Cowboys fans to give us. At least that's our only comeback to the Eagles. Winning 2 Super Bowls to me makes you a legit franchise. That puts you in, that unique company. There's not a lot of teams that are 2 or more. And that's probably to your point, Kelly, when you say it's hard to win Super Bowls in the NFL. I mean, it's hard. I mean, when you get teams like the Patriots that won 6, and now you got, the Chiefs that won that are on the verge of could win 4 in 5 years. Isn't it 4 in 5 years? They won 3 in a row, missed 1 and won 1 or something like that.
It'd be 4 and 5. Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And so the Eagles have to lose. I mean, I would just have to go in hiding for a little while because the shit talking that they would have, and I can only take so much of it before then, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It'd be tough. I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah, you know what? To answer this question right here, one, I'm going to say Brandon Aubrey's under contract. But I did see a quote somewhere, but I don't know if that's actual legit, because if he's actually a coach of another team and he's talking about a player that's under contract, is that not tampering? So is that actually – so did he actually say that, or is somebody just speculating?
Aubrey said it.
So Aubrey said that coach called him up.
Yeah, he was complimenting Bones and all the things he did for me. He goes, yeah, he told me when he left it, he's going to try and trade for me. Kind of laughing. Now, I wouldn't read a whole lot into it. I think obviously there is a appreciation that Aubrey has for Bones.
I don't think that in any world, in any universe out there, that Jerry's ever getting rid of Aubrey. Aubrey's going to be a kicker the entire time, his entire career. But I'm just saying, though, if that's actually true, I mean, that's tampering. You can't talk about
a draft pick out of it or something. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't talk about another player that's under contract. Not like that. You can talk complimentary of them, but you cannot tell another player, "Hey, I'm going to try to trade for you." That's tampering to the letter of the law. So you can't do that. But if he actually truly did that, then Jerry Jones go out there and tell Roger Goodell, go and be a snitch, man, and get an extra draft pick, because we can use all of them that we can need. We need all we can get, but.
Yeah, I would be salty, Kelly, on that. We'd have to put the ban on Carl again.
Yeah, I think I saw that comment. I said Carl might actually get the ban for the entire offseason. We might be able to let him back in once the season starts, but we might have to ban his ass because I could just hear every single comment. We won the Super Bowl. We beat Mahomes. Y'all ain't won since the 90s. We beat Mahomes. We won the Super Bowl. Like, it would just, the whole chat would just be Carl. That would be it. I couldn't.
Yeah. I don't want to hear it. We're going to get into a lot of the offseason stuff, but I mean, I think Osa is probably going to get the franchise. I mean, it seems like that would be the move the Cowboys would make. I don't think they're going to sign.
What is the franchise tag on that interior on them defensive linemen right there? What's that going to be?
I haven't said. I mean, it's going to be significant, I think. 15 million, maybe. I
would say about 15, something like that. But yeah, I think he probably gets the tag.
Yeah. And to the people saying, well, the Cowboys and their cap and this and that, the Cowboys can maneuver two contracts, and I think it's been talked about a few times. They can clear out a hell of a lot of money.
Oh, they can clear out a ton of money, man.
No excuses, man. No excuses.
Just with Dak and CeeDee Lamb, they can do that. So it looks like the franchise tag for a defensive tackle in 2025 is going to be $23 million.
Ooh, that's even higher than I thought.
So yeah, almost 23.5. It says $23,468,000 would be the.
I don't know if I'd franchise him. Then you're better off trying to sign him. I don't know.
Trying to work him out to a deal probably than franchise tag him, because that's a pretty hefty number for 1 year, $23 million. But that's the projected cap for franchise tag in 2025 is your offensive line is going to be $25 million, a defensive end $24 million, cornerback $20 million, defensive tackle $23 million. So yeah, they got some pretty high franchise tag numbers out there. But I mean, ultimately, I would think that the Cowboys would want to try to work out. I mean, maybe they can't, but I think they would want to try to work out a deal for Osa, because I think you could probably sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal. Where you're not having to pay him not that kind of money right there. I mean, you're going to need to pay him because he did play his way into a contract. I will tell you that he played well. I think I would love to see the Cowboys try to keep him. I think he's a guy that I would love to see back on this defense and continue to grow under a new defensive scheme with Eberflus. We didn't really talk too much about him.
Yeah.
But like that hire, I'm not totally against it. It wasn't a hire that made me jump out of my seat. I kind of said, I think I texted you in the group chat. I was just kind of like, meh, whatever. I wasn't really super, super excited about it. But then I kind of started looking at it, looked at what he did with the Colts, and kind of looked at, even as a head coach, what that defense looked like with the Bears. That was always kind of their strong suit, even though they're off. Just, as long as we keep him as far away from the offense as humanly possible, I think we'll be all right. And I think that he got himself a good defensive line coach today. The guy that we got for the Jets, I cannot remember his name right now. I'm blanking.
White Cotton.
There you go. But I do believe that that's going to be a good addition. And I like what Eberflus brings to the table because he is a good defensive coach. I was
going to say his defenses have been in the top half. He's been a coordinator 7 years. I think it was top half 5 of the 7 years. He's always been up there in turnovers, run defense. He was solid. So, yes. Which that helps. I think he's a solid. Again, defensive coordinator. Was there anyone you're going to jump up and down? Let me ask you this because this is on top. Yeah, like Al Harris. Are you upset that he's gone? Do you think they should have made him defensive coordinator? But I would look, he's never been a defensive coordinator. In that scenario, especially bringing in Schottenheimer, if that's going to be your coach, the thing I like about the DC is he's got some head coach. Now, he wasn't successful in Chicago, but who the hell is? But he's got some head coaching experience, but he's been a defensive coordinator a long time and been successful at it as well.
Yeah, no, and if you look at his defenses when he took some of these teams over, especially with the Colts, it was almost an instant turn on what he did with them. He took them from bottom of the barrel league. I think they were like 26th in run defense, and then literally the first year he took over, they went up to like a top 10 run defensive team in year number 1. And what have the Cowboys been struggling with for years now is our run defense. The run defense, I would argue, got better this year. I think they did start getting better under Zimmer. But that was one of the big things under Dan Quinn is that our run defense was nightmarish. And you look at what they did against the Eagles, their run defense out there in Washington still looks a lot like the run defense we saw in Dallas. It was pretty nightmarish.
That's why Tuck is talking about like their run. The Washington run defense was as bad as Dallas.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Saquon Barkley gashed him every single time that he played him. Yeah. Every single time he went up against him. But
a question on the defense. We'll get some people's questions in. They love your thoughts and maybe mine too. I don't know. What do you think about Tank? His contract, I believe, is up. Right? He's up. Do you bring him back? He's had some injuries, and
it's the NFL's a tough business, man. I think it's time to part ways with him before it's the Cowboys. I felt like they waited on a little bit too long when it was Tyron Smith. I thought they kind of held on to him a little bit too long. I thought they should have got a replacement in for him, 2 years ago versus just last year. I think he's a guy that probably is not with the Cowboys next year. I think that you look towards the future. I think you look towards developing Nealon. I think you look towards probably drafting another defensive end in this draft. Maybe even signing one in free agency. But I don't think Tank's going to be back with this team next year. I think he's got up there in age. He started to have some injuries start to pile up. It's that time, and it's time to cut bait with him before
Yeah, and I think the play at Davis, kind of is like. I was talking to my buddy again with it, and it's like, I thought Parsons had his best year this year with everything, the injuries and just everything, the leadership, everything he had. But no one's ever been able to take advantage of Parsons on the other side. And then you see, Davis started really coming on and really getting going. And you really didn't see that with Tank as much. You would think the guy opposite Parsons would be like double digit, racking up sacks left and right. Never really saw that. So I don't know. I love Tank. I love me some Tank. So I don't know if it'll happen. One other question I forgot to get to, and I don't know if my man JR is still there. He knows I love the U, so he's got to ask, is would you go veteran, maybe even a rookie, and kind of team him up with my man Martinez from the U, who is a big back. He's got some speed, but he's more of a bruising guy, big, breaking tackles. What is your thoughts just overall? Doesn't have to be Martinez. Are you one that say, I get a veteran and let's get a rookie? Do you think we should get 2 rookies? There was a question, do you bring Rico back? I mean, what's your thoughts on, because it's a deep running back class.
Yeah. I don't mind being a rookie back. Or bringing Rico back. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm drafting 2. I'm drafting 2 running backs this year. I'm double dipping in this rookie class because I think this rookie class. I mean, just think about if you were able to draft 2 running backs and these dudes ended up being that lightning and thunder type duo that you had with Montgomery and Gibbs, or who else has got some dual running backs? Well, you look at San Francisco; they have a bevy of running backs. Yeah, that works out well.
I mean, even you look at what Kansas City's done with Pacheco and Hunt.
Kansas City, Pacheco and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
I love having 2 really good weapons at running back, and Rico Dowdle, I think, still has the potential to be a really good RB2 in this system. But I'm going rookie running back in this class. And something I'm going to say for you guys that I've been saying, and I know a lot of people, there's people that have said that have been a homer, or people will point to me and EJ Savage talked about it, about his usage and stuff. But my boy Taj Brooks, just watch and pay attention to Twitter over the next couple of days. They've got the East-West Shrine Bowl plays tomorrow, and Taj Brooks is going to be playing. And you just watch. I've already started to hear some buzz coming out of the Shrine Bowl, and Taj Brooks has been, and it's granted it's seniors out there, but Taj Brooks has been getting a lot of buzz. And so I'm just telling you guys, you watch for his draft stock to start rising, because I've seen him in a lot of mock drafts. A lot of people got him going around the 4th round. There was a Steelers, one of the Steelers brass actually had sat down and met with him, gave a comparison of him to Le'Veon Bell, is one of the comparisons they kind of made him to. So I'm just telling you right now, I love my guy Taj Brooks. I would love to get him, especially if we could grab that dude in the 3rd or 4th round. It'd be great. But I promise you, his draft stock is going to start to rise. You guys are going to sit there and be like, you know what? I remember Kelly talking about Taj Brooks and pumping Taj Brooks as running back from Texas Tech. So being able to snag a running back, like even if I was to get an Ashton Genty in the 1st, I'd still double dip and go back and get a running back in either the back end of the 3rd or maybe the beginning of the 4th, maybe even the 5th. But I would still get another running back just so that I've got that depth and that I can have that possibility of really 2 impact running backs, along with getting a wide receiver in on this team. I just think this offense needs a boost. I think we've got more talent on the defense than we do as far as offensive playmakers.
I couldn't agree more. This draft has got to be about playmakers: wide receiver, running back, defensive end, and cornerback. I mean, I need playmakers. That's what this draft. You've got to be able to get 3 playmakers, and 3 of those 4 positions, everywhere you want it, we've got to get those playmakers and then fill it through the draft. The one thing I'd say, Kelly and I will do we're going to do a mock draft. People love them. We haven't gotten Kelly's opinion on a mock draft. I've done a couple, but we definitely need Kelly. We need you to run one to see if you and I think alike or we think differently. But I'm of the opinion, like, I almost want Genty to be taken before we draft, because I don't want to be in that position, because I don't know how you pass him up. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I've done a few mock drafts, and when you take a running back in the 1st, it really affects your wide receiver core. And so it's like, man, I don't want to be caught in that position. But I mean, Genty's the real deal. He does have a lot of carries, so I mean, that's the one thing that you can get concerned with. But I think you got to be the mindset at today's running back is, especially if you get him in the 1st round, you're going to run him for 5 years, and then he's kind of gone.
And then you part ways. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. I'm 100% on board with going with a wide receiver. I really think that your chances of getting an impact wide receiver outside of the 1st round, I think, starts to fall drastically. So unless the Cowboys go out and snag a wide receiver in free agency, which, until they prove me otherwise, I just don't see it happening. I think that the Cowboys,
I don't want like I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. I don't want I'd rather have a rookie receiver. My thoughts, a couple of things is I don't want to pay two guys big money. I think if you get a rookie, he's paying good, and then when CD's contract's up, his contract's due, and you kind of do it. I think free agency should be built with the guts of the team. I think you get defensive tackle, linebacker, safety, offensive line. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just think the guts you need to fill with free agency, the team, and then you get those skill guys in the draft.
I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I just feel like that if the Cowboys were to put all their chips in and say, hey, we're going all in, and Genty's our guy. Yeah, that's where their draft focus is at, is trying to grab the running back in the first round. And if that's the case, go out and snag you a solid wide receiver, because I don't know. And you still can draft a wide receiver. You can still doesn't permit you from drafting a wide receiver in round 2 or 3, or trying to get a guy to get in there to compete. But get a guy. But you look at the wide receiver free agent market, and I mean it's not really anything that's super enticing. I mean, outside of T. Higgins, which I would say is the number one target out there, outside of him, it really starts to fall off after that. Because then you've got DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he's an older guy. It's not a guy I've really got much interest in. I mean, he's made plays for Kansas City, but he's not the Hopkins of old. You've got Diggs, which I'm staying the hell away from him. He seems like, I'm going to be honest with you, he seems like about as big of a diva as you can get. I don't want him. So that's kind of why I'm leaning heavily towards the Cowboys trying to draft a wide receiver in the first round. But at the same time, if you're the Cowboys, you don't want to pitch yourself. You don't want to get yourself to the point where it's like that's, you got to hone in on just one position. I think the Cowboys could go a couple of different ways. And I'm going to be quite honest. Wouldn't be mad with the Genty if they grabbed him. Wouldn't be mad with the wide receiver if they went that way. And I'm also going to I wouldn't be mad if they went and grabbed themselves a defensive tackle or a defensive end. If that Mason Graham from Michigan, if he was to fall to number 12 and they took him, I would not be upset at it. I know a lot of people that are like, oh man, another defensive tackle from Michigan. Not shying away from that. I'd go out and grab him if he was there. So I think that the Cowboys could go several different ways. If a really great offensive tackle, Banks from Texas, if he was to fall down to number 12, I'd be okay with them taking a tackle.
I would cry if they took an offensive lineman.
I'm just telling you, when it comes to Terrence Steele, if we could get a guy in there to man that right tackle position, and it's a guy that we can get in there for the next next decade, and he's our guy, he's our tackle. You've got your left guard. Your left guard is going to be there for years. Your right tackle's there for years. You're probably good at center. And if BB needs to slide out to guard, there's some good possibilities that can go on there. I'm just saying, I know it's not a sexy pick, but I'm just saying the Cowboys got several different positions that they could go in the first round where I'm not going to be banging the table like, God damn it, why didn't we get this? And then, why didn't we get this? And running back, though, for me, is the one that I'm the least concerned with in the draft, just because I think that you can go very deep. I think you can go back into the 4th round and grab yourself a guy that could be a playmaker and an impact guy.
Yeah, my thing, I'm going to have anxiety every round that goes by that they don't draft a running back.
Yeah.
I don't want them to wait too long.
Well, no, I wouldn't want to wait too long.
Not that I don't think there's great running backs. I don't trust them. I'm not going to believe they're going to take it. Because last year, we all were screaming running back, and they did nothing. They didn't even take one. Not even a running back at all. If they pull that shit, that's when I'm going to turn Kelly. And I'm going to go on some profanity laced rampage if I don't see a running back drafted by the Cowboys this year.
Well, I saw that they had. I saw somebody said they said the one pick they would not take a tight end in round 1. And here's the thing: I know we're talking about having him on the show. We can talk with him when he gets on there. I saw Tuck was pumping up Warren, the tight end from Penn State, and saying, hey, let's go out. He'd be a target. Let's draft him instant. Listen, absolutely not. I'm not in for it. I disagree with Tuck 100,000% on that. I do not want a tight end in the first round. I know Warren looked great, but listen, tight ends, in the first round, even at the top of the first round, are just not. You don't see them be impact players. Now, Brock Bowers this year.
Be careful.
Brock Bowers was the exception to the rule, but typically you do not see. I mean, look at the. Look at the guy from what's the guy that got drafted by the Lions from Atlanta. The guy from Atlanta that everybody was saying.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts. Everybody was saying that he was going to be this unstoppable playmaker, huge red zone threat, a can't miss project, and he's yet to make an impact with Atlanta. He's been mediocre at best. So a tight end is not a position I would take.
I'm worried about tight end. I don't know. Ferguson let me down. His mind is on a Cavender twin down in Miami between him and Carson Beck, my Miami quarterback. They better get their minds right because I didn't like what I saw with Ferguson. So, like, I put out in a mock draft, and I don't think he's going to be there. But Arroyo from Miami fell in the 5th round in my mock draft. I don't know how. I don't think he will be there. But I took him, and some people are giving me shit over it. I'm like, dude, I'm not so – I mean, Arroyo's a top tight end. He's really good. If there's a top tight end later in the round, I'm not against the grabbing one. Because I
wouldn't be against grabbing.
But I agree with you. I wouldn't go first round.
I just don't think that it's one that I definitely want to do in the first round. Now, I will tell you this. There's 2 names here, and I don't want to get too much off track here.
No, we'll do that for
but there's 2 names here in the draft that definitely intrigue me. And I don't know what round they'll go in. But Jackson Dart and Dylan Gabriel at quarterback position. I know that they just signed Dak Prescott to this extension this year. I think that the Cowboys, they should draft a quarterback. I think that we should get a quarterback in one of the top 4 rounds, honestly. And I know, 4, 5 at the worst, and start developing a guy. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, you got to get a quarterback in the first round, quarterbacks outside of the first round, but if you draft him with the knowledge that, look, this guy is not going to be the guy, not this year, not next year. He's 2 years down the road. To develop to bring him along, to be our eventual backup to Dak Prescott, and hopefully the eventual successor. I'm not against the Cowboys drafting a quarterback this year. There's some intriguing guys in there. Like I said, those 2 guys I've heard.
They have to draft a quarterback, I think.
You look at Dak Prescott. He's gotten a year older. The injuries are starting to pile up with him. Whether somebody can say that's a fluke thing or not, you can't trust that Dak is going to be a guy that's going to continue to play at this high level without having injuries continue to maybe be an issue. You've got to start preparing for things like that. And I feel like the better teams do that, which is why I feel like that they really got to start being serious about getting a guy in there, because obviously I don't think that, Trey Lance, they don't have any faith in him being that guy. So if he's not the guy, then draft the guy.
No, he's not going to be. Well, help me out, Kelly, and then we'll wrap it up. David, I agree with you. Schoonmaker looked better than Ferguson this year. And Ferguson was hurt this year, to be fair, Mike. Now, I know, Kelly, you had some things to say. Tough love's important. Ferguson, all right, fine, hurt, but when he was in there, he fumbled. He didn't have focus, and I don't think he scored a touchdown. And it was a disappointing year for Ferguson. I mean, and I bought a Ferguson jersey. I love Ferguson. I was I expected more than what maybe I had the level too high. I expected a breakout. I expected him to be the next tight end in that class of that next the elite tight ends in the league. So am I being too hard on him, or was he disappointed?
No, you're not being too hard on him. Shit, I made a tweet and said Ferguson was one of the biggest disappointments this season, and I stand by that. If I had to vote who I thought was the biggest disappointment this season, it's Ferguson, hands down. And I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I don't really know how you disagree with that and how you say otherwise. Granted, he may have had some injuries, but even without the injuries, he did absolutely nothing in the red zone. He had more fumbles than touchdowns, 4 of them. He had dropped passes. I mean, Schoonmaker had more touchdowns than Ferguson. So, I'm sitting here and I look at him and I say, look, with the expectations that a lot of us fans had with Ferguson going into the season, a lot of us were hoping for him to be a top 5, top 8 tight end before the end of the season. And I mean, he was a huge disappointment. So no, I don't think that's, and I think that's tough love. And obviously, I think Ferguson's going to be on this roster next year. But if they end up drafting a tight end and with Schoonmaker, I thought Schoonmaker made some progress in this season. I thought he looked better and started to come along. So I don't think his job should be guaranteed. He's still on that rookie contract, so I don't think it would cost anything really to let him go. It's not going to hurt anybody if they decide to part ways with him. So yeah, he's definitely a disappointment. He's going to have to get back to what we thought he could be, because this year was definitely not it.
Yeah, and like I said, if you've seen the Cavender twins, I mean, all right. So there might be a point to it. So get focused, Ferguson, man. Get back to what we think you could be. I'm only kidding. Don't go give me no hate on people saying I'm being sexist, but I do mean it about Beck. You coming to Miami, we paid you $4 million. I know that's your girlfriend, and that's one of the reasons you came down there. You better keep focused. I don't need none of this shit. I don't want to see Miami turn into Florida State in 1 year. That'll break my heart. We got Notre Dame. But guys, we had a great show. We been kicking it for an hour and a half. We definitely thank you. Be on the lookout for our next mock draft. This is post-coach hire, D coordinator. You're going to have the Kelly and Mike Tag mock draft. We'll be dropping that off, soon. So keep an eye on it. We're going to do a live one with the fans. So make sure, like I said, man, 350 something of you guys. If you want to make a difference to the channel, we appreciate it. Like I said, 180 new subscribers in 10 days, man. It's all thanks to you guys. But the way to do it is hit that thumbs up, man. If you guys come over to YouTube right now, come over to our channel and just hit the thumbs up, man. That's all you got to do. Leave a comment, like the show, hate the show, give us a reason why. All kidding aside, but leave a comment on anything you want us to talk about. That helps too. Any interaction we get with our shows creates the algorithm to get it branched out to other people that say, I had one guy say, man, I follow you on Twitter. I didn't even know you had a YouTube channel, man. I love it. I just stumbled upon it because it showed up on a suggestion thing. So that's how you can help our show, help the channel grow. We appreciate it because we can't do it without you, man. So I don't really have anything to say besides that. I did all the selling I could, Kelly. Is there anything else you want to add?
That's about the long and short of it, man. There's a lot of people in this chat right now. So if you have not, man, please take the time to go over and hit that thumbs up button. Helps the algorithm, helps us, reach a wider audience on YouTube. And the more we're able to reach, the more people we're able to reach, the more cool things we're able to do for you all that come in here and make this show so great. Because without you guys, I mean, we're really just me and Mike talking to each other, which, hey, we can talk to each other for like an hour and a half about football. No problem, man. Give us a 12-pack, man, and just wind us up and get us going. But you guys make this more fun, calling into the show, coming in the chat, bringing your topics and your opinions, and sometimes calling us out on our opinions, so we don't always have to agree, but it's a good time, man. And it's always, it helps me out, man. It's therapeutic. I feel better after.
Now we're getting Kelly ready to go, man. I love this.
I feel better. I'm starting to kind of walk myself down off this ledge. Now the only thing I need to have done is I need to have Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs come in and just absolutely bitch smack the Eagles into oblivion. That's what I need to happen. And if that happens, the 2025 is off to a great start. We're gonna hit the road and it's all uphill from here, baby. So let's go, Cowboys Nation. Let's get this thing done.
Yeah, let's make it happen. We're going to talk a lot of the Super Bowl, get you guys ready next week. Be on the lookout, mock drafts, all our stuff, man. Appreciate the love. We'll see you. Take care, man. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.